In this project, you will be performing a completion coding exercise. Here you're going to be modeling the spread of an alien flu around a planet. You'll notice that you have a little alien. Soon we're going to have many aliens. Currently this alien is blue and is therefore healthy but susceptible to infection. We'll create many of this alien and then we'll create one infected individual. And as that individual runs around the planet, every time that sick alien comes into contact with a healthy alien, he infects the healthy alien and turns him sick. Let's take a look inside the model and see what we can do to complete the code. We'll see that on the backdrop we have a simple image of space, and we have one sprite which we've named Alien. This sprite is in the Scratch collection. We've simply renamed it Alien, and we've set its rotation style to just moving left and right. We do currently have one costume for Alien, and it is Alien Healthy, represented by blue. Let's control click on it, duplicate, and now rename this second alien, Alien Sick, and change the color to red. There will only be one sick alien at the outset of our program. Let's take a look at our scripts, and we'll zoom in a bit. When the green flag event handler is clicked, we're going to start the action of the program. So what does that action need to be? We need to initialize our variables, and our variables are created here. We have the number of infected aliens and the number of susceptible aliens. So we'll set each of these to 0. Set susceptible to 0 and set infected to 0. Simply because anytime we start a program, we need to define our variables and initialize them to some initial value before we get started. From there, we make two procedure or function calls, one to create susceptibles and one to create infecteds. Let's take a look at what these are. Remember, we create these blocks or functions here in the More Blocks area. You'll notice that we have 3, create susceptibles, create infecteds, and we'll talk a little bit later about wander. So let's take a look at our create susceptibles. What happens here? These are all of our healthy aliens who are blue but are susceptible to getting sick. We'll switch the costume to Alien Healthy and ask the user how many healthies, and when they respond, their response is stored in the temporary variable of answer. These ask and answer pair tiles are stored under sensing right here, ask and answer. Once answer is input, for instance a number such as 10, we enter into a repeat loop and repeat 10 times. Create the clone of alien, that's here, create clone of. Send that alien to a random XY position on the screen, and then point that alien in some random direction from 0 to 359 degrees so that they will have a unique direction to walk, and it will have the effect overall of scattering the aliens and causing them to move into different directions. At the end, we will set the number of susceptible, that susceptible variable, which appears here on the screen, to this number, answer, for instance, 10. Now, let's take a look at how we're going to replicate that process for create infecteds. How is infecteds similar to this block, and how is it different? We'll need to complete the create infected block. There'll be just one infected alien, and he should also wander. We haven't done any wandering yet, but we're going to need to remember that because that's important. All right, let's think about what we need to switch the costume to. Here on Create Susceptibles, we switch it to Alien Healthy, but we'll need to switch the costume to Alien Sick on Create Infecteds. We don't need to ask how many sicks, we're only going to have one, so we don't need an ask and answer pair here. But we do need some of this information right here inside. We don't need to create a clone because we'll just take that initial single alien I have out there and use him. We'll send him to a random position using this tile. Go to random position. And we'll also point him in the random direction of 0 to 359. And again, you can actually duplicate this tile. If you just control click on it, duplicate, then you'll have that same tile. Okay? Then we want to set the variable for 6 to 1. Notice on susceptibles we set susceptible to answer. Here we'll set 6 or infected to 1 because we have one infected at the outset. Okay? Now our last step is to think about how these aliens are going to be moving about and what they're going to be doing as they move about the screen. Let's take a look at this final block. Under More Blocks, I've created Wander. Here it is. What happens there? Well, the alien's going to move a certain number of steps. Let's say anywhere from 5 steps to 20 steps. You can change those numbers. And after he does that little motion, we'll have a little bit of a pause, about 0.5 or half of a second. If he's on the edge, he'll bounce so that he stays back in the scene. But here's the real critical point of this model. If a sick alien runs into a healthy alien, if they bump into one another, then we want that illness to transfer. So we need to create some sort of an if-then conditional regarding that transfer. So let's set it as follows. If the color of the alien is blue and it's touching a red alien, then we've had a healthy touch a sick. So we need to switch that healthy alien's costume to alien sick. We need to increase the number of infected aliens by 1 and change the number of susceptible aliens by -1. In other words, decrementing or decreasing that number. And when do I want the aliens wandering? I want them wandering all the time. Who do I want wandering? Well, if you're susceptible, you were created as a clone. So when I start out as a clone, I want you to forever wander. But don't forget, we need our sick guy wandering too. So we need to control, click, and duplicate forever wander for our sick alien, our infected alien. So let's take a look. We'll go ahead and run it. And I'll put it full screen for you. Press the green flag. How many healthies? How about 30? Let's make a lot. Create those 30. We see the number of susceptible, the number of infected. Immediately, that first sick guy, that patient 0, started bumping into individuals and infecting them, making them ill. And you'll notice the number of susceptibles is decreasing and the number of infected is increasing. A challenge to you is to think about how you can remedy the situation of every single alien becoming sick. Obviously, the end game here is that everyone's going to be infected. So can you add something? Can you add a sprite? For instance, paint a sprite that looks like it's perhaps the color white and appears as potentially a little hospital. You can fill that little hospital in with white, bring it into our scene, adjust the sizing, and create a new command. What will that new command look like? Well, let's put it on the alien, and let's look at how we've talked about changing the state, changing whether an alien is sick or healthy. Can we create a command that will look like this conditional and say that if the color of the alien is red, but he touches white, meaning the hospital, then we switch his costume back to healthy and we adjust the variables accordingly. See if you can do that. And if you can, you will have created a method for bringing your population of aliens back to good health. Good luck.